I've been with Penelope since I found her. They've been performing experiments on us, but they've stopped now. She's a bit too optimistic for her own good. That was my daughter, all right. She had introduced me to a friend she made in the metaverse, Neo. I looked at my daughter through my screen, and then back to Asuna and Jurgen. I was going to release their siblings first. I had released Azura and Jurgen's brother. A few moments passed by as I saw both of them come from the maze of capsules. Asuna ran to Azura and immediately they hugged each other. Jurgen did the same. The bond of siblings was something amazing. Azura, the 1 billionth Roblox user, reunited with Asuna, and Jurgen, the one whose sanity I cured, reunited with his brother. I smiled. It was time to release my daughter from her incubation. That's when I heard someone scream my name. I turned around and flinched when I saw a bullet ricochet off the computer mechanisms. Silas got up and started firing again. I ran in the maze of capsules in an attempt to catch him off guard. I couldn't stop being so paranoid since Silas could appear at any moment. I waited, and that's when I heard it. The footsteps were behind me. I quickly turned around and saw Silas swing a sharp blade into my torso. I was able to lessen the blow, but I had to make sure that he couldn't slide the blade across my abdomen, or else I'd bleed out. I used all the strength I had to push him into a wall, so that his arm wouldn't have any room to move the blade. With a swing of his head, he landed a blow directly on my nose. I fell hard on the ground. I grabbed the side of my torso to slow down the bleeding. I waited for Silas to make his next move, but he never did. He was looking in my direction, but not at me. He looked at the capsule behind me. I heard him whisper the words, "Bellflower." I looked behind me and saw who he was talking about. There stood a girl in a slumber. Silas walked past me and towards the girl. We were supposed to get married this year. This would have been my last job. Silas said, "Do you finally understand now? There's a threat much greater than you and I can handle on our own. Please, Silas, I need you to work with me." He stood there, not responding to my request. I took the opportunity to go back to the computer to release Penelope. I stood for a moment. I thought about Silas, and then David. I knew what I had to do. I looked for the name Bellflower and prepared her for release. Then I tried to release John Doe, but he was trapped inside a force field prison. His release would be a bit trickier. "Ricky, don't release me. Just give me Dominus Lambda." "John, you've been in prison here for over 2 decades. Let me help you," I retaliated. "No, you don't understand. We don't have time to argue. Trust me and give me Lambda," John Doe said. As I was typing the command to teleport Dominus Lambda, I felt a push from my side and I was thrown across the floor. "You have more lives than a cat, Ricky Goldsworth." "You've got to be kidding me." "Your persistence is admirable. Epsilon, bring the girl." I turned towards the screen. Epsilon was with Penelope. "It seems as though it would be a perfect opportunity to test Dominus Neo in the metaverse. Place the Dominus on top of her head." "Wait, you win. Here." I pulled out the USB drive that contained Dominus Alpha and handed it to Richard Rowe. "Now let her go, please." There was a long pause, and Richard finally said, "Kill the girl." I looked in horror as Epsilon was placing the Dominus on Penelope's head. I fell to my knees and started to cough up blood. My voice, no, my entire body had given in until I heard Neo's voice. I looked up and saw him push Penelope out of the way. He took Epsilon by surprise, but the Dominus had fallen upon him. I feared the worst would happen, but nothing was occurring, as Neo looked completely fine. "Neo, are you alright?" I asked. "Yeah, I feel absolutely fine," he responded, although it's quite funny that I was fitted with a Dominus with the same pronunciation as my name. "He's alive because of the existence of another Neo," John Doe said. "However, you, Ricky Goldsworth, you're about to be dead if you don't turn around." I looked behind me and narrowly dodged the blade that Richard Rowe formed with his Robloxium armor. As he approached me, a few bullets rang out. Silas appeared from the dark. He kept firing at Richard Rowe. The AI was able to block it with a Robloxium shield. "Why did you help me?" said Silas. I could ask you the exact same thing, I quipped back. If it's true what your friend says, then allow me to lend a hand. You have to get away from here. The wound I inflicted will kill you if you don't get medical help. Neo and I will also help out in the metaverse, said John Doe with Neo by his side. Then Richard Rowe was hit with another projectile. I recognized the weapon as the one David used against the magma fiend. I looked up to see the Russian neurologist carrying the weapon. Richard Rowe lay stunned. I collapsed again. I put my hand on my side and saw that I was bleeding heavily. I couldn't stand up. I got dizzy every time I tried. I saw David running to my side. Listen to me, Ricky. You have to go or else you won't be able to see your daughter. We have a team of 5 ready to stop Richard Rowe. Asuna, Azura, and Jurgen, get Ricky out of here, David ordered. They lifted me and helped me walk towards the elevator to get out. I kept refusing, but at this point I was mostly unconscious. I don't remember anything that happened as we left the elevator, other than the screams of people trying to leave the building. I woke up with a start. I looked around me. I was in a hospital bed. Asuna and the others were there. The doctor said you would be alright, but you can't move around too much so you don't open your wound again. How long have I been asleep? 3 hours. What about the others? Are they alright? Did they win? We haven't heard from them. I don't know. I'm sorry. I laid in my bed for hours. Sleep wouldn't come. Ever since releasing the Richard Rowe AI, I had lost too many people for this war against Richard Rowe. My wife, Ashley, and even Penelope. I had to give them up to save others. But even that wasn't enough. I had stayed in the shadows researching, collecting information, trying to find Richard Rowe's weakness. I was too afraid to face him alone. That's why I kept looking for David. Although he created this AI, I knew he would be able to help me. Dominus Alpha was what it was after all along. The deadly dark Dominus, combined with its power, would be able to resurrect David's daughter. I stared at the moon gleaming through the window of my hospital room. If I'm not able to stop Richard Rowe's new mind heist experiment, at least I'll be able to be with Penelope in our new future world. I looked over at Asuna and Azura, then at Jurgen and his little brother. I silently thanked them while they were asleep. I felt my pocket. I had forgotten about the USB drives that I had. All that remained were Omega, Mu, Cheesecake, and the killer USB. I sat them down beside me. Knowing that I was a failure, I let them all down. And who knows who's dead or alive because of me. I felt my phone vibrating. It was an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, and then I answered. Hello, I answered. You finally picked up, thank goodness. I recognized the voice. Silas. Listen, Goldsworth. I don't have much time left. Richard Rowe. He's heading to Nevada. He wants to use the computer network there to activate the monoliths he's set up. David and the others who've survived have left as soon as the Arthurs overpowered the president's super soldiers. I stayed behind to slow down Richard Rowe. And that's why I'm calling you. You have that USB killer, don't you? David's weapon were ineffective against Robloxium. You have to stop it now. Your daughter, Ricky, she's... Hello, Silas. I kept trying to get an answer. There was a loud thud and then dial tone. Something deep inside of me knew that they had failed. My daughter, what about her? Richard Rowe, perhaps he knows I'm alive. I took one last look at the kids. Jurgen smile, Asuna smile, and then I took one last look at the USB killer. I had to protect those smiles. Not just their smiles, but the smiles of the whole world. My story does not end here, but Richard Rowe's story will. I knew what I had to do. It was time to awaken the chaos.